What is up, IF Warriors? It's your boy Edward V, and today we're going to talk about which exercise or what exercise helps you burn the most fat. I know my last video was why you may never lose your belly fat, and I think that may have created some doom and gloom, even though I explained what you need to do to get over that hump. But if you want to be effective and efficient at your exercises to burn that body fat, I'm going to go ahead and help you understand how that works in this video. Stay tuned. Not gonna bog you down with my jump rope pitch. You know what it is. Jump rope, $16.50. Click on the top right hand corner or down in the description box below if you want to get yours for yourself and support this channel. All right, now let's go ahead and move on to the video. So here's the biggest question. Some people want to know what's the best exercise for me to simply just lose fat. Like, I want to be able to eat, that's fine. I want to figure out the eating part. But I want to know how to be effective on the other end, on the actual physical end, which is the exercise. Now, just keep in mind that the eating part, and this is not just what you eat, but it's how you eat, when you eat, all the eating things that come into play, being at a caloric deficit, using things like intermittent fasting to help you target body fat specifically. Different things, the foods that you eat, increasing your protein intake, all of those things help massively with weight loss. And that's actually the most important thing when it comes to weight loss. It's going to take up about 85 to 90% of your entire weight loss journey if you want to actually be successful. So you have to be successful on that front to actually see success. Now, exercise is the other 10 to 15%. And yes, it seems like a more insignificant number. It's 10 to 15. It's not as big as 85 to 90. But if you put that on to your 85 to 90 and you start clicking on all cylinders, that 10% can go a long way, especially over time. So let's break this down. In terms of cardio and resistance training, cardio burns more calories than resistance training on a per use basis. So what do I mean by that? So if you run on a treadmill, for example, or even if you walk, when you're walking for 1 hour, that walk for 1 hour or that run for 1 hour will burn more calories than simply working out, resistance training, lifting weights for 1 hour. Now, there are different varieties of ways that you can work out to burn more calories, but still cardio outdoes resistance training when it comes to calorie burn, which subsequently leads to fat loss on a per use basis, which means when you're actually doing it. So apples to apples, 1 day of resistance training versus 1 day of cardio, cardio is going to win out in calorie burn. But however, the uniqueness of resistance training is that it's like you're putting in a loan to a bank that's going to increase over time. And because of that increase over time, you will be much better off, and it'll be much easier to keep the weight off down the line. What do I mean by this? If you build muscle through resistance training, because you have muscles, and muscles are very metabolically active, that means you're going to be burning more calories just to sustain those muscles. You're going to weigh more, which is going to also create a calorie burn because you're carrying more weight on you, which also continues to help you build more muscle. And there's a calorie partitioning effect that happens because your muscles just require that energy. Your muscles require calories. So just for the sake of argument, if you had 20% of muscle on your body and you ate 2,000 calories, maybe 300 or 400 calories will go to your muscle. But if you had like 20% more muscle, then like 600 calories will be required to energize that. So for the same amount of calories that you'll be eating, you'll actually be burning more of it and not storing it, thus creating an internal deficit that's not actually being created externally. So you'll still be eating 2,000 calories, but you've increased your deficit simply because you have a higher, more metabolic body because you have muscle on your body. And if you're new to weight training, if you've never trained at all, you are primed and ready to build muscle quicker, even quicker than those who are jacked. People who are super jacked, they take much longer to grow incrementally, while you grow exponentially faster in the beginning and then it drops off. If you're looking at somebody who's huge and you're like, oh man, I don't want to work out because I'm never going to look like that. Don't even worry about looking like that. Worry about the amount of muscle that you are giving up because of the fact that you are new to going to the gym, or you're detrained, which means you haven't gone to the gym in a long time. All of those things will help you build muscle very, very fast. Of course, there's going to be a drop-off period, but someone who's new to the gym and someone who's detrained will build muscle very fast. So it's not going to take as long as you think. Just know that. Now, also when it comes to resistance training, compound movements per use basis, so we're not even thinking about cardio, per use basis, compound movements burn the most calories. That's resistance training that target multiple joints and multiple muscle groups in your body. Things like bench press or pull-ups or squats, and probably the most compound movement exercise ever, the deadlift. Those things provide more energy burn per use because of its intensity. You're targeting multiple muscle groups at the same time. So that's resistance training. That's the resistance training part. But you are growing your loan over time. That's going to work in your favor down the line, so make it easier for you to eat more. Now, when it comes to cardio specifically, they've done multiple studies on what specific cardio burns the most calories. Now what they've seen is that hydraulic resistance burns the most calories. So it's cardio that creates hydraulic resistance. If you do rowing, for example, but with hydraulics, with that air pressure hydraulic, where you're pushing that down and you're feeling that resistance, that has been shown to burn the most calories. Now, what has been shown to burn the most fat per use is actually being on a treadmill. So it could be walking, running. Those workouts show that per use, you're burning more fat at that moment. But keep in mind, if something that burns way more calories than something else, even if that thing is burning fat, you're burning fat, but at a low calorie burn. So 200 calories burning predominantly fat versus 800 calories burning some fat and some carbohydrates is still going to net you a better outcome in terms of fat burn when it's all said and done. Walking, for example, targets fat more than running. And walking is great because it's low impact and a lot of people can do it, and it can help you get active if you're not active, or if you're older and you don't want to get hurt. Walking is one of the best things you can do, but that's because walking is low impact, and even though it burns more fat than it does carbohydrate, it doesn't burn fat exclusively, it just burns more fat than carbohydrates. You still can't overcome how much you can burn running for the same amount of time. Now, I get it, running, you'll get more exhausted, it's harder, walking is much easier, but just keep that in mind. In terms of time efficiency, running will not be burning more fat than carbohydrates in terms of the ratio, but it will burn more fat than walking overall for the same time period because of the amount of calories you burn, which will lead to more overall fat loss. However, in terms of full-blown efficiency, and I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, of course you're saying that because you sell jump ropes. The egg didn't come before the chicken, guys. I picked jump ropes to be the thing that this company makes and sells for cost efficiency for you guys, and the fact that it can burn a large amount of calories per use and is a low impact, as well as being portable. It was, to me, a no-brainer to start making jump ropes simply because of that fact. And of course, wanting to make a swivel jump rope that's a speed rope, that's also affordable. That's not, asking for an arm and a leg. But yes, jump ropes are actually low impact. And if you can manage 120 to about 140 rotations with the jump rope while you're jumping, you can burn from 450 to 670 calories per hour. And to kind of equate that with running, you will have to be running 8-minute miles to accomplish that feat. With running, you could up the intensity by running faster. With jumping, you could up the intensity by jumping faster as well. But because our bodies create a very natural shock absorption when you do jump on your jump rope, it makes jump rope actually very beneficial and effective in terms of least negligible injury risk, while still maintaining a very high effective calorie burn, which lends to fat burning. So technically, jump ropes is probably one of the most efficient thing that you can do versus all of the other methods. Because when looking at the entire dynamic in terms of injury and efficiency per use, you can't really beat doing jump ropes. All right, guys, hopefully this video has given you an insight on the importance of resistance training for fat burning and the importance of cardio, as well as running, walking, and even jumping rope for calorie burning and for eventual fat loss. Remember though that the whole working out and exercise part is just 10 to 15% of everything that you need. The big majority of it comes from how you eat, what you do when it comes to food intake, and what you do with that whole thing that actually dictates the majority of your success. And of course, I want to thank my patrons for my Patreon, and I'm going to go ahead and put their names right up